How's it going, crew? This is Happy Days, and today we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 favourite class challenges in Terraria. A class challenge is when you intentionally limit the weapons and armor you can use to give yourself a really big challenge in a Terraria playthrough. There's 4 main classes, which are Warrior, Ranged, Mage, and Summoner, but each of those classes have subclasses. So for example, if you're playing a Warrior, you might only use Yoyos and be a Yoyoer, or if you're playing Ranged, you might only use guns and become a Gunslinger. They are awesome to do these challenges, and what I find is you use weapons and armor you might never touch if you just do a playthrough where you use everything. So let's get started. I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each on the list, as well as include a few honourable mentions. It's going to be lots of fun. Let's go. Coming in at number 5 is the Summoning class. Summoners only use summon weapons to deal damage to mobs, which means you never actually deal any direct damage yourself. It's a fun class to play because by the end of hard mode, you're pretty much a walking death machine with tons of minions dealing out massive damage. However, summoners suffer a bit from a really slow start with only 3 weapons pre-hard mode, and the first weapon is one of the rarest items in the game, the Slime Staff. However, if you can push through that, it's a really rewarding playthrough and actually teaches you a lot about the mechanics in Terraria, namely damage and buffs, because the more you can squeeze out of your summons, the easier you're going to do against a lot of the endgame bosses. It's possible to play a summoner in normal and expert mode, and I definitely recommend this class. Coming in at number 4 is a ranged class, and to be more specific, it's an archer. Archers use crossbows, which are called repeaters in Terraria, and bows, and they are capable of dealing out really high damage pretty much from the start of the game. The thing I really like about archers is they're very simple to play. You get a bow, you get your arrows, and you just point them at the enemy. There's not a great deal of skill involved, although as you can see during this fish run fight, the emphasis when you're playing an archer is more on your evasive skills. So you're just shooting your arrows, sort of keeping them trained on the bosses and enemies as best you can, whilst looking to avoid as much damage. Archer armor is sort of middle of the road, so you don't have to worry about putting warding on all your accessories. And a lot of the variety in this playthrough comes from the ammunition. So a lot of different effects come from arrows. You can see holy arrows being used in the video, which is making stars fall down. You can also get flaming arrows and normal arrows, and things like that, which adds a bit of fun to it, piercing arrows, jester ones. So archers, very easy to play, not a lot of variety in the playthrough itself, but definitely a good place to start if you're looking to do a class challenge. Coming in at number 3 on my list is a class that's a lot different from the other ones, and it's the Fisherman class. The thing that's really cool about this one is that you actually use the fishing skill to acquire all your weapons, armor, and accessories, or you at least get the bars and ore to craft your own. It's a lot different than the other playthroughs because there's less emphasis on mining and exploration, and more on developing your knowledge of the fishing skill and how all the different equipment works against bosses. Although one thing I did find with the available items from fishing is that it lends itself more to a normal playthrough and not so much an expert one, just because the items you get in hard mode don't really follow through to the end game. So if you're playing expert mode, you may suffer a bit towards the end of hard mode if you try it. That said, it's a ball to play on normal mode and lots of fun, and that's why it's number 3 on my list. Coming in at number 2 on my list is the Mage class. Mages are interesting because they have a lot less defense than warriors and rangers, and yet they make up for it with their massively damaging spells and also just the sheer variety of different magic attacks you get. So unlike, archers that only have bows, mages have, different types of spell effects that you can see in the video here. I'm using the Crystal Serpent, I'm using the Meteor Staff, I'm using the Golden Shower to lower defense. You have so many different effects that you can use with your magic attacks. Also, the armor is a lot different in the sense that you can get things like Life Drain with the Spectre armor, which is really cool. Also, boosting your critical strike is really useful with mages as well. Probably one thing I find difficult with mages is they are slow to get started. If you get an early water bolt, that's good. Otherwise, getting your first gem staffs can be quite difficult because it requires quite a bit of mining. Apart from that though, especially in expert, mages are a fantastic challenge, and to beat Moonlord on expert with a mage is a real challenge and something that is definitely a goal to achieve. Before we reveal number 1, it's time for some honourable mentions. One of them is the Gunslinger class, which is guns only. It is a good class and guns are very powerful, although I find that what happens during the playthrough is your tactics for enemies and bosses pretty much stays the same from the start of the game all the way to the end, so there's not a lot of variety in the Gunslinger class. Another honourable mention that I really wanted to have high on my list is the Throwing class, which has recently been introduced in the 1.3 update. I had so much fun playing the Throwing class, but unfortunately as of 1.3 it is only supported up to hard mode, the beginning of hard mode. There is no real new weapons. There's one that spreads biome, I don't really count that, and there is no new throwing armors in hard mode. So unfortunately, without that support for hard mode, I don't consider it a full playthrough, and that's why it's an honourable mention. Coming in at number 1 on my list is the Yoyo class. Yo-Yoers are melee warriors that have the benefit of a ranged attack, and are currently one of the strongest classes in Terraria 1.3, in my opinion. They start out the adventure with really easy access to their weapons, and this continues pretty much throughout the entire game. They gain the benefit of strong warrior armor, with the advantage of just being able to hold their weapon out. Did I also mention that they're really fun to play? Yo-Yos are just fun to use in Terraria. It's not a difficult class to play, but it's just really enjoyable and achievable in expert mode, and that's why it's number 1 on my list. And there we have it, folks. How did my list compare with yours? Just to recap, in number 5 we have this Summoner class. Although it has a rocky start, it ends up being a very powerful class by the end of the game. Number 4, Archers, which get strong weapons pretty much right from the start and keep the power train going all the way through. Number 3, Fishermen, probably the most interesting class to play, and with a bit more work could be an amazing class in Terraria. Number 2, Mages, for their versatility of weapons that pretty much outmatches all the other classes and is just overall really fun to play and ultra powerful. And number 1, the Yo-Yo class, one of the most powerful classes in the game at the moment. Ranged attack type with melee weapon, devastating power, and by the end of expert mode you are just smashing everything. Okay guys, as always, I love to hear your personal top 5s in the comments section below. And what I love about our community is that we respect each other's opinions, and it's often cool to see you all talking and debating about the different points without getting nasty towards each other, and being really nice and happy about it, which is really cool. So I can't wait to read that. And if you haven't tried a class playthrough yet, guys, you definitely try it out. They're so much fun and really add a lot more depth and challenge to Terraria. And you'll use weapons you've never used before. I just love it. Alright, it's time for some shoutouts as always. And our first one is from Ryan Kaminsky. And they've asked me to say in a golem voice, Golem, why are my fists not loved? They smell like cookies. oh, poor Golem. Poor Golem. He gets beat up so much too because he's got so many item drops. And next one is from Fallen Star. And next one is from Ricky, the legendary hero pun. And they've asked me to say in my voice, Felix. Oh, it's a tongue twister. Okay. Alright, they've asked me to say, Felix sings sea shanties on the seashore. I almost got out. Alright, try it fast. Felix sings sea shanties on the seashore. Whoa, that's a tricky one, but I like it. Thanks, Ricky. Our next one is from Coal Miner. And, oh, I think this is another tongue twister. Alright, so, it's about cookies and cookie crates. How many cookies could a cookie crate if a cookie crate could? I messed it up. I think it's a take on the woodchuck one. Nice one, Cole. Our next one is from Vance Marazi. Yes, I think I've said that right. And, ooh, it's an old proverb. Very cool. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a lifetime. Very true, because once you know how to do something, you can repeat it over and over again. That's a nice one. Thanks for that, Vance. And our last one today is from Hyperactive Gamer. It's actually, a lot of the E's were 3s, but yeah, I think it just means Hyperactive Gamer. And they've asked me,
Say in a Felix voice, the swordfish is okay, but the cookie fish is even better.
very cool, very cool. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Sorry I haven't done my comments yet for yesterday. I've been super busy and I've been a bit tired. But I'm up and in action now, so I'll be doing those comments. And as soon as this video is out, I'll be jumping on to do a few of those too. Leave a like if you've enjoyed the video. As I said today, our chat can be about your personal top 5. And if you haven't subscribed, guys, click the little HD icon to join our Happy Crew. We're about to do our 100,000 subscriber celebration, so get ready for that. Here's the most important part as always, you will stay happy, and I'll see you soon. This is Happy Days signing out. See ya! Alright, now let's find out where this lava is. Mr. Lava! Oh goodness. Okay, we've got to heal off. Nice. Oh, he's about to go in his last form. Oh, what do we... No!